one of the things that I do when I look at an existing business and I get their historical financials, the first thing I do is do a trend analysis. That lets me know, and then I go out. There's a lot of resources out there for industry and market information, and then I go, and then that helps me determine what their position is in the marketplace. So then we can make fairly good assumptions on what we expect it to be in the next 6 to 12 months. And keep in mind they're only assumptions and things can change. And he's talking about debt coverage ratio, and we build that in there just in case there was something that comes up that we didn't know about. But that's not something that the business owner does. We just ask them to provide their financial statements. It's good for a business owner to do that if they can do it, but it's typically something I do right off the bat with an existing business. Is I do that trend analysis, and then I'll go out maybe and do a comparative analysis and really find their position in the market. And that doesn't, and they're also individual and specific, as Dwight was talking about. It really. Each business is different, and where their position is in the market is going to be different. So it's hard to go out and compare them to a company somewhere else. So you really have to drill down to do that.
I'll tell you something else. I had a discussion with Larry several months back about the fact that a lot of our small businesses that come in for counseling at the Tennessee Small Business Development Center don't understand credit terms. They're extending credit to clients over long periods of time that their industry standard is 15 days, 7 days, 10 days. And they're extending credit to clients 60 days as a general practice, not because the client wouldn't pay them, but because they didn't ask the client to pay them. And so the misunderstanding of credit, the misunderstanding of turns and of inventory control and of cash flow management by trend in your industry throws up a red flag to a bank. Is that fair?
I would agree with that. And also, it's important, someone said this to me a couple of weeks ago, that a lot of people equate risk with bad risk. Well, lending's risky, period. It doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad risk. There's things that you put in place to mitigate the risks as best you can, but I would agree with that assessment.
One of the things the FDIC is requiring banks to do now is stress test their portfolio. Particularly, rates right now are at their lowest in, 50 years? Prime rate is at 3.25%. So this business may cash flow at prime plus 1, 4.25%. But what happens when prime gets back to 8 and suddenly the rate is 9%? Will this business cash flow at a 9% rate? We're trying to balance the regulatory pressure we're receiving with the need to lend money. Banks don't make money if we don't lend money, and but we're kind of caught in the crossfire of a difficult economy and regulatory pressure due to that difficult economy and the need to get our funds into the marketplace. So I would just say in general, there's less margin for error now. So if you've had a bad 2008, the bank's going to go, all right, can we reasonably be assured that 2009 or 2010 is going to be better? If you're telling us it's 2011 before you turn the corner, do you have the equity to survive that period of time? So heavier equity. Again, you've got to have cash flow or you've got to have equity to live through these difficult times. And so we're going to, anything that looks more questionable, we're going to question it harder and harder in tough times. Again, I appreciate you guys being here. If there's any additional questions, obviously you can call any of the staff here at the Knoxville Chamber. I hope you'll take advantage of some of the resources that these folks have talked about. And thank you again for coming, and have a great morning.